Hello, I'm Matthew Woodget. Go Narrative. Every Friday, I pick a company and I tear down their homepage to find exactly where their story breaks. Today, we've got Force Metrics, public safety software out of Denver. 22 million raised, 64 agencies across 17 states, and over 1 billion records, all in one place, all served by this company. And a real product sits underneath all of this. They unify systems that have never, ever talked to each other. And when I look at the webpage, I am looking for one thing. Where is the best sentence about this company? And why isn't it on their homepage? Let's go. 4 meetings in recently with our eldest son's college consultant. We're in the run up to the whole university thing with our consultant, Chris. And a lot of what Chris is saying has landed. Merit aid, I understand now in a way that I didn't before. One piece had never reached me, never quite clicked, and it was sports scholarships. I'd written it off as a long shot for a kid who plays and is very passionate, and I think pretty good, pretty darn good, and he is, at soccer. So I wasn't really listening because I had this idea in my head about who gets sports scholarships, what sports get sports scholarships, all that jazz. Turns out I had it backwards. Soccer, along with other sports like swimming, volleyball, those sports are exactly where the money is. The second I learned this was the second I really started to care. Chris had put it in one sentence, and everything we'd already read arranged itself, fell into place, made sense. Today's homepage that we're looking at has 5 sentences near the bottom that would do just that. And I want to show you what happened to them. I call that a legibility problem. Legibility, making sense. It's not a writing problem. It's not a copy problem. It's not even a marketing problem. Everything that Chris had told me was true. Everything on the homepage you're about to see is true. But a page can be completely true and still not reach anybody who hasn't already decided that you matter to them. And here's the uncomfortable truth. I honestly don't know if Chris had told me or said it earlier. Maybe he did. The problem is that from where I was sitting, it made no difference. The effect, if that makes sense. When a company has this version of this problem, that is a version of the company that is accurate and no two parts are the same, sales is going to describe it in one way. The website is going to describe it in another way. And the founder themselves says something that's ultimately much more pointed and sharper than either of those other examples. And they say it when they're in the room. Unfortunately, what happens to somebody who's in a room? Eventually, they walk out of that room. Where is the best sentence about this company? And why isn't it here? Righty-ho, let's fire up the site you've heard me talking about. Here is the hero, turning public safety data into action. Fine. Cool. Now, the sentence underneath it: the Force Metrics Velocity platform transforms disconnected data into actionable insights, empowering public safety agencies to make informed, equitable, and confident decisions in seconds, and enabling safer, more trusting communities. Informed, equitable, confident, in seconds, safer communities, more trusting communities. 40 words we just went through. 40. 6 promises. And every single one of them is true. Every single one of them is good stuff. It's good out there in the world. It's doing good. It's important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the opposite. Now, tell me what this company sells. Yeah? I'm going to go down this page looking for one sentence that tells me why a chief would buy this instead of anything else on the market. Let's see if it's in here, shall we? Righty-ho, here we go down the page. We've got key benefits, of course. And we go down here. We've got this is the home page. The product page we were on as we were exploring it earlier. But all of those words that I ran through, here we've got them. Remember the communities. So we're going to go on a hunt for this sentence. Here I see a logo wall, 31 agencies, I think it is. Brookhaven, Lakewood, Tampa, Winston-Salem, Newcastle County, Douglas County, Florida Atlantic University. These aren't police departments. The buyer got bigger. I should say they're not just police departments. The buyer got bigger. The words didn't. Problem section. Data scattered across systems. Slow manual reporting. Limited visibility. This, my friends, is every data platform on earth. Nothing here is wrong and nothing here is theirs. Nothing here is special. Solutions. We got 7 tiles. You got RTCC, you got analysts, command staff, investigation, and we have retail and transportation. You see that here as well. Retail, retail, retail on a public safety page. And the very next header, if we keep scrolling down, equip law enforcement with actionable insight in seconds. 2 different companies, 1 screen, about an inch apart. Features, search insights, FM stat. This is the best copy on the page. Unified search across CAD, RMS, JMS, and regional data. It's good. It's also still telling me how it works, right? All that intellect behind this brilliant thing that they built, not why I would want it. So we get down to the bottom of the page and I still don't have my sentence, friends. I'm still hunting for it. And then I hit the customers. 5 customers. Abilene, Winston-Salem, Albany, Phoenix, and Denver. Read them with me. We can go one place. We can go to one place. ... There's no learning curve with force metrics. ... Nobody else does what they do. ... Every one of these stops. There's no name, no rank, no department. There is a city. That's it. There's no link, no read more. I even went into the page code to check, just to be on the safe side, because I thought it had to be a design bug, but it's not. These 3 dots were typed in. The rest of the sentence was never published. And look at the 3rd one. Nobody else does what they do. That is the only place on this entire homepage where somebody says why you'd pick force metrics over anyone else. Better yet, it's coming from a customer's mouth, but it stops 1 word before it tells you that reason that why matters, let alone the what it is that they do that's special. So my friends, does the sentence exist anywhere on this webpage? Does this sentence exist anywhere at all beyond just this webpage? Yes, it does. Twice. 1 click away on their own product page. The public safety search engine that finds what matters when it matters. That's a category. That's a thing you can repeat. And then Andrew McGregor, the founder, in an interview describing his own company, said something to the effect that force metrics tells a story in a way that a person isn't just a dot on a map. A person isn't just a dot on a map. That's it. That's the whole company right there, from a man who spent his career at the FBI. He knows his stuff. He knows exactly what he built. It's not on the homepage. This page is talking to somebody who already cares. Every line on it makes sense once you've decided that force metrics matter. Nothing on the page helps with that deciding. You know that feeling where somebody asks you what your company does, and before you've even said a word, your shoulders go? You got that kind of sigh feeling. Here we go again. That drag, that physical feeling that we can all remember at some point, that's not a vocabulary problem. That's what happens when we start to reach for the what. Because the what is often the part that we can say very clearly. You spend a lot of time thinking about it, fixing it, solving the problem, building the what and the how. But there's a problem with that. As important as that is, and as that is for a part of what a company does, the problem is you can't explain somebody into caring. They have to feel. They have to feel it in their guts. Then the explanation has somewhere to land. Bit of a dirty secret. I did this myself for years. Talking too much about the craft, the how, the what. It didn't work. So despite my passions and what I wanted to do, I sold messaging and positioning and sales decks instead because I could, and it was language people already had. I did it again this Wednesday on a walk around Green Lake here in Seattle with a friend. I found myself explaining something and I took a shortcut. I went straight to the how. I skipped the why. I picked the wrong word doing it, which made things worse. And as I picked that wrong word, I watched my friend's face change. And I had to stop him mid-reaction and say, wait. That's not what I meant. Chris couldn't explain me into caring about sports scholarships either. Something had to make me care first. And as soon as it did, I was receptive. I've got 2 questions for you. Question number 1. When did you last hear somebody explain your company and have to hold your tongue? Sit with what that felt like for a second. Question 2. What has your buyer already written you off as before they ever reach your page? And where on the page do you touch it? My friends, if nothing on your page touches it, the page is talking to somebody who already cares. And it's not doing all of the job that it's there to do. We opened with Chris and the scholarships. Here's what it looks like on a website. Force Metrics has a real and an awesome product. There's 64 agencies that are proving that point, and 1 billion records, and a founder who can tell you in 11 words what the thing is for. A person isn't just a dot on a map. And the homepage, the only person who gets to anywhere close to saying what we're looking for is a customer, and they were cut off mid-sentence. Chris told me true things, and I heard one of them on the 4th attempt, because by then I cared. The problem is your homepage doesn't get a 4th meeting. I'm super glad that we've got Chris. Without him, we'd still be guessing. And this thing is a deadline-driven sport, I tell you, pun intended. That's what matters here. None of this is a failure of intelligence. If anything, it's too much intelligence. It's what happens to all of us when we start with what we do. If you can see this in your own company, book a narrative diagnostic. We will find where the story stops reaching people and what it is costing you. And you can do that by going to gonarrative.com. And the top right corner, click on book a meeting. And yes, this is the URL slug if you want to go directly there. I'm going to stop there. That's it. We've got a bit of time. We can do some Q&A. The what to say instead, that part lives in the diagnostic. We're not going to recreate Force Metrics page here today. And for you, it's going to live in that diagnostic. But the free win that you have today is you can now see where on a page, any page, including yours, is the page only talking to people who already care. That's a pretty big win in my book. Let's have a look in the chat. Let's see what awesome questions we have this week, shall we? Pulling them up. Let us have, oh, I got some good ones here. I like this. I like this one. You're not a police chief. You're right. I am not a police chief. You're not a police chief. How would you know what their buyer actually needs? That's an absolutely splendid question. It's all right there. I want to be completely clear about that. Nothing on the page is false. Not only did I not say that, I made a point earlier saying nothing on the page is false. And that's why we do this, right? The test I'm running, what I'm doing here, isn't whether the information is present. It's whether a stranger can read it once and rebuild what the company is. Because if that can't happen, it's not going to get remembered and it's not going to get passed on to other people. And as we all know in business, we want to get that effect. Everything Chris told me, for example, that he told me about college sponsorships, merit-based, sports-based too, was right there as well. And it took 4 meetings before any of it reached me. And that wasn't a failure of Chris. It was a disconnect in what Matthew was caring about and focusing on. And the reason why I share that, Chris story, that university story, if you will, is precisely because not only am I not a police chief, but it's a story that we can all identify with, even if we don't have kids who are going to college, because it's that kind of natural, basic, day-to-day kind of life story that we all experience in some way, shape, or form. And there's a beauty in that. There's a beauty in not being the police chief. For me, for you, and there's a beauty in playing that role, even if you are. Like, I'm not going to invent the good sentence here. Their own Force Metrics' own customers reaching for it, and their founders said it out loud. I just noticed which one's on the homepage or not. And that's why I love sitting down with founders like yourself and drawing out the stuff that may or may not have been said in an interview, drawing out those elements and looking for the parts that we can use in this way and constructing that thing that is going to support all of this beyond just the web. The web page is just one of the many places that this stuff shows up. It's just on the internet, it's public, and I can go and I can do a teardown of it. So you don't have to be a police chief. Let's have a look at the other questions here. To be really clear on this one, the cutoff quotes look like a bug. They're not. Like I said, looked at the webpage, looked at the code, triple checked. It is, the diagnosis is not built on that. The diagnosis is built on what is on the webpage. And if that's a simple fix, if that's something that wasn't finished in code, that's by all means, that's something that can add value. Be really clear on what that was. What's the next one? Ooh, I like this one. Where would I find my version of the dot on a map line? So we want to find those, don't we? Yes, 100 times yes. You should be thinking that. And I love this question because I want all of you to be thinking about this. You can run this tonight. Find somebody smart who knows nothing about your industry. Could be a friend, family member, colleague, random person. Let them read your homepage once. Most of our homepages are on our phones. Then take it away from them. Ask them what you sell and who it's for. The whole test is what you do next. You will want to help them and you will want to have it to sit on your hands. You're going to want to like blurt it out. You're going to want to explain. I know this because I experienced this. I have experienced this. I still experience this because I am human. So are you. We solve problems. We get wrapped up in the what. We get wrapped up in the how. And we have to step back. And this exercise and asking somebody like that is a really fantastic way to do that. Do it tonight. And if not, do it over the weekend. It's a Friday. Oh, I love this one. We got to do this one. There's frequently a version of this one that I see and I hear all the time. My product genuinely does 5 different things. How am I supposed to not sound like that 42-word sentence? We can all identify with that. Force Metrics genuinely does. They do. All 6 things that they say. The trouble isn't how many things you do, it's that the page opens by naming all of them at once. Valuable real estate, which gives the reader nothing to feel before they're asked to start understanding. It's like me and my friend walking around Green Lake. Wait, what are you saying? Okay, interesting, trying to intellectualize this. And I had the floor, I had the stage is a friend of mine, somebody who cares about me, and vice versa. They gave me the time. They sat on their hands. They were prepared to give me a chance and to listen. And a really interesting thing happened as a part of that. That friend actually said, Matthew, you know this stuff. This is like intellectually, it's really fascinating to hear you describe this stuff. And I was like, that's nice to hear. I thought that. Then he came in with there was a 1-2 punch. So deliver a positive message before you deliver a negative one. And then my friend said, but I tell you what, when you talk passionately about what you do, why you do it, and who you do it for, that is even more interesting. I love hearing you intellectualize and break it down. He's a smart guy. He likes hearing about this stuff and gets a kick out of that. But he said to me, what he loves even more is when I'm impassioned. That's something worth sitting with. You're not being asked to do less. You're being asked to make sure people care first. Web pages are beautiful. We can have product pages and white papers and all sorts of opportunity for the what and the how. And the beauty of a web page is it's that challenge to make sure the first thing we say is that thing that gets people to care. Love it. Great question. Oh, okay. I want to do a couple more questions, but there's a couple great ones here. So let me see. What does this actually cost me? Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's good too. Okay. I'm going to go with this one for sure. What does this actually cost me? I can't put a number on. People don't get it. You can get closer than you think. Count the calls you personally joined this month. You're a founder. How many calls did you hop on? Last minute. Bob, you got to hop on the call. Sally, we need you on this. Could you join the call? Could you hop on a plane? How many times that happened so that the story would land? Here's another. Count how many months a new hire takes before they sound like you in front of the customer. I'm not saying you want to give the kingdom away. You are all over this business, as you should be. This is your baby. You also want the people that you bring on board to be representing. So when that new hire is in front of a customer, how long does it take for them to represent the company like you do? Both of those examples have hours in them. And whether hours have a rate or not, time is money. That's not even the whole cost, but it's a real number and it's already on your calendar. You can find it. You can figure it out. Go run that. You might be unpleasantly surprised. I hope you're not. But if you are, you know who to come and speak to about it. Nice one here. Nice one here. Couple nice ones actually. I think that do a good job of context for this stuff, right? So one of them is: do we tell the companies before we tell them do the teardown? No. I look at what's publicly on the internet, and that's the same as any of their buyers would, and I say it out loud. I hope you also heard how impressed I was with what Force Metrics are doing and what all of these companies are doing. This is an opportunity to find more success in that awesomeness. And if any of these companies ever wants to reach out, push back, challenge what we've talked about, the door is open, and I mean that literally. I would love to have a conversation about it. That is a really respectful question, and thank you for asking that one. How do you pick who goes on? Are these clients or people you want to be clients? I pick companies where the product is clearly real, innovative, interesting. Why I do what I do, why we work with post-Series A companies that are looking to get Series B and companies like that, is the people. The innovation is interesting, but the people who are driving this innovation, like Andre, the CEO and founder of Force Metrics. I love working with these people, and I love the fact they're trying to solve big problems, and I love helping people solve big problems. And I've got a certain tool set that I love to bring to bear on that, which is one part of a puzzle that these founders are spinning a lot of plates on. So I pick companies where we have this fascinating product, innovation, the great people behind it, but the story hasn't caught up. That's the pattern. And I love looking at it. I love breaking it down and figuring out how this problem could be solved. Like, my sister gave me a present. I think it was like a Christmas present. It was a insulated cup, like for coffee or tea or whatever. And it said, I know stuff and I fix things. I think there might have been a dad thing going on with it as well. I know stuff and I fix things. I love learning things. That's why I know stuff. And I love taking things apart and putting them back together and fixing things that aren't working, whether it's a physical vehicle, suspension on a car, or whether it's an AI agent that I'm using to solve an intellectual problem, or figuring out how to get my home assistant automation, my operating system I use in my home, to do something. I love this stuff. And when it comes to selling this stuff as companies, when the story hasn't caught up, I love figuring that out. And with a company with nothing good about it isn't going to teach anybody anything. So every company you see on this show, there's going to be something interesting. And honestly, all the people as well, the founders and their teams, really fascinating stuff going on. So hopefully that answers your question. Brilliant. What a fantastic Friday afternoon. What a fantastic teardown. I have loved this. I get energized to think about how you can take what you've heard today and level up your game with all those plates that you're spinning. Hopefully, if there was one that was wobbling on this front, you can remove the wobble, get the story to catch up for your own homepage. And of course, if you want to have a chat about that, gonarrative.com. First thing you do, click on the book a meeting. We'll get the narrative diagnostic booked and we'll have a conversation about this. We'll figure out what's going on with your homepage. And you will look at that and you'll be like, shucks, Matthew, yes, it's on the homepage. And I see how that's also showing up, manifesting with how we're doing our sales conversations or onboarding our team, whatever it happens to be. Super exciting. Hope you have a fantastic Friday. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.